All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to look at a management framework that's been built for a world where, honestly, your most productive teammate might not even be human. It's called the Honey Badger Framework, and it's designed to rethink pretty much everything about how teams get work done.
And this is really the million-dollar question that so many leaders are grappling with right now. I mean, AI assistants aren't just tools anymore, are they? They're becoming real, integral parts of our teams. So how do you actually manage a team that's a mix of humans and AI?
You know, the fundamental problem is that our old playbooks, they just weren't built for this new reality. Your traditional top-down frameworks like PMP, that's Project Management Professional, can be way too slow and rigid. And hey, even modern Agile methods weren't created with an AI as a core team member in mind, or with today's huge focus on ESG, environmental, social, and governance, baked right into their DNA.
So, if the old ways don't work, what's the answer? Well, the framework we're digging into today offers a pretty bold new solution, and it definitely has a name you won't forget.
This is it, the Honey Badger Management Framework, or HBMF for short. Its entire reason for being is to create a high-performance system that is tailor-made for a blended workforce of human experts and their AI partners.
The whole thing is built on 4 really simple but powerful pillars. Super short work cycles, absolutely clear roles for everyone, making AI integration a must-have, not a nice-to-have, and weaving sustainability and governance right into the day-to-day workflow.
Okay, that all sounds great in theory, right? But how does this thing actually work on a Monday morning? Let's break down the mechanics of it. It all moves in this really fast-paced cycle. A manager sets the goal, then the team gets to work in these quick 7-day sprints with an AI assistant there to help with all the heavy lifting on knowledge tasks. There's this special role, the guru, who makes sure everyone's following the rules. And here's the kicker. Any sprint can be completely canceled if it's going off the rails. The whole system is just built for speed, agility, and cutting your losses early. Let's dig into those roles a little bit. First up, you've got the manager. Their job is all about strategy. They're the ones who define what needs to get built, they chop up the work into bite-sized pieces, and they make sure everything the team does is pointing in the same direction as the rest of the company. Next, you have the guru, and this is a really unique role. The guru is not a project manager. Think of them more like the guardian of the process. They make sure the framework is being used right, they help knowledge get passed between team members smoothly, and they keep everybody honest with real-time, transparent dashboards. And finally, of course, you have the specialists. These are the experts who are actually doing the work. But here's the big twist. They work in 2 separate subteams that are actually competing on the very same task. Now, this isn't about creating some kind of toxic rivalry. It's about sparking healthy competition and, more importantly, creating a powerful built-in system for catching mistakes. A key innovation we're going to talk more about in a second. So you see, this whole setup, the competing teams, the guru, the mandatory AI, it's not just a random collection of rules. It's a fundamentally different approach to management, and it's built on 5 core innovations. In fact, it's these 5 specific ideas that, when you put them all together, make this framework totally different from anything else out there. So what are they? First, AI is a formal mandatory team member. Second, you have those competing subteams. Third, there's dual accountability thanks to that guru role. Fourth, specialists have to declare what they don't know, which pushes them to learn. And fifth, ESG goals are strategically linked to how the team actually works. You just won't find this specific combination of all 5 innovations in any other framework that's been published.
And this chart just lays it all out crystal clear. Just look at HBMF next to well-known frameworks like PMP, Scrum, or even the big one, SAFe, the Scaled Agile Framework. While those others are great at certain things like agility or leadership, HBMF is really the only one that was designed from day one with AI integration and ESG compliance as absolute core non-negotiable features.
But it's so important to understand that this isn't just a random assortment of good ideas. HBMF is a system that was deliberately engineered, and it actually uses principles from mathematics and systems theory. In the words of the framework's creator, Dr. Georgios Fradelos, this is designed to be a mathematically optimized operational system. Let's look at 3 quick examples of what that actually means in practice. First up, queuing theory. The best way to think about this is a highway. If that highway is at 95% capacity, one tiny fender bender causes a massive traffic jam, right? Total gridlock. But if it's only at 75% capacity, traffic just keeps on flowing. HBMF does the same thing for your team. It intentionally caps their workload at less than 75% to create that slack in the system, preventing bottlenecks and making sure work moves smoothly. Second big idea, how do you deal with the single biggest risk with AI today? We all know that sometimes they can just make things up. They produce these answers that sound perfectly plausible but are completely wrong. People call these hallucinations. HBMF's solution is those competing subteams. It's actually brilliant. Think of it like having two independent food tasters for a king. If one person accidentally approves a bad output from the AI, there's a really good chance that the second, independent team will catch that error. It's a built-in redundancy system to protect you from AI mistakes. And third, it borrows this really smart idea from finance called real options theory. It asks you to think of each sprint not just as a task, but as an option. And by making every sprint cancelable, HBMF gives managers the option to abandon a project that's failing, which helps you avoid that classic sunk cost fallacy, where you keep throwing good money after bad. So let's zoom back out. What does all of this really mean for the future of how teams work? Let's try to put it all together.
When you step back and look at the whole system, you can see that the Honey Badger framework is engineered to do several really critical things all at once. It helps reduce the risk that comes with using AI. It speeds up how your team learns and shares knowledge. It bakes ESG goals right into your daily work, and it provides clear, strong leadership.
So you see, this is way more than just another project management methodology. It's being presented as a kind of blueprint for a new social contract at work, a structured, resilient, and ethical way for humans and AI to really, truly collaborate effectively. And that brings us right back to the question we started with, but now, maybe with a bit of a new perspective. With a framework like this in place, maybe the choice isn't really either or. Maybe the real question is, how do you build a team that gets the absolute best out of both? Will your next great hire be human or an AI?